Hello colleagues, welcome to my video, everything you always wanted to know about Gimkit. And first of all, I will say I've heard it from the inventor of the site himself. It is pronounced Gimkit, not Gymkit. So there's no GIF debate on this. It is pronounced Gimkit. And Gimkit is a game site similar in vibe to Kahoot or playing Quizlet Live, or that sort of interactive multiple choice gamified education thing. Gimkit is a site that really, it used to have a much better freemium status where it was free to have all the kids you want, but you can only have 5 games that you've ever made, or 5 kits as they're called here. And then you'd have to pay to do more than that. And they've recently changed it. And now, not only are you limited in how many kits you can have, but each one is limited to 5 participants. So unless you have ridiculously small classes or are someone who is teaching kids in person where they would be able to share a device, which I know is not the reality that I'm in right now, hashtag COVID. But it really is one that you have to purchase the upgrade in order to be able to use. You'll see down in the lower left-hand corner of the screen that mine says Kelly Gimkit Pro, because I did actually subscribe because I love this website and I feel like it is very much worth it. There are team discounts available. You just have to contact them to find out about the pricing on that. I don't know it offhand. So we're going to work through a little bit of what's here and how you can use Gimkit. And so each kit is basically a unit or a game or what have you. And so the first one that I have up here that I've created is vocabulary from chapters 12 and 13 of a book we read last year in class called Casa Dividida. And it is set up much like Quizlet or Kahoot or that. You can see as the game is already created, there is a vocabulary word in Spanish, 4 options for its meaning in English, and in green, which might be hard to see in the video, but it is also the first answer. You can see what the correct answer is. So this is how it looks when the game has already been created. I'm going to go through that first, is what you do when the game's created, and then I'll show how to actually create the game. So if you watch the Kahoot video, this is like completely the opposite. So I'm going to click on play here to play the game live, and you will notice that there is, and I'm going to skip this for a second, these are the 2 regular modes. Classic mode, students compete individually. Team mode is students are competing in teams. And it actually doesn't change the students' experience a whole lot because they're all on their individual devices, but it's just, are they grouped together in teams that their work all benefits their team? Or is it just, everybody looks out for numero uno? If you're playing a team, you can choose the number of players per team, right? And those are the 2 traditional modes. During this time, you can choose what the goal is. You can have a time goal, meaning we're going to just play for 10 minutes, and whoever is in the lead when 10 minutes are up, you the winner. That is one that I actually really prefer, just because otherwise I don't know how long things are going to take, and I find it harder to plan and that sort of thing. So I really like the time as the goal. Race is all players or teams be the first one to reach a certain cash goal. So, and you can set what that goal is, up or down from $1 million. That's just the default in the menu. And then all in is a more cooperative mode where everyone competes against themselves basically to earn as much as they can. And when you hit the final goal, that's when the game ends, when everybody has worked together to get that goal. Occasionally, there is an extra mode. And you can see this up here, boss battle. It's back, one versus the rest, who will win. And so in this game, it is one person versus the entire rest of the class. And there are some advantages that obviously make this possible, but this is really fun if you want to do a teacher versus students and see, can the whole class beat me? Or if you have that one kid that's like way beyond everyone else, right? That kid can volunteer, or you can have a random picking of who the boss would be in the game. And so it's just a different mode of playing. They've got one that's like Thanos mode. They've got a humans versus zombies mode, and people are divided into humans and zombies. There's super rich mode where all the numbers are exponentially big. And I just got an email today that, or no, I saw it on Twitter today, that there's a new mode that's coming out next week, and they just had a picture of lava. So I don't know if it's volcano mode or lava mode, and I don't know how it changes the rules. But each of these special modes just puts a little tweak on the game, which is kind of fun, because even though it's the same game, there's something fresh and new, and everybody craves a little bit of novelty in their life. So that will work fine. So class, if you enter classes, and these are my classes from last year, and from last year. So I could actually select, okay, I'm playing this game with my Spanish 4 third hour class, and when kids sign into the game, they'll just have to pick their names from the list, which does eliminate that whole problem of inappropriate nicknames. And I know who all the kids are because they're picking their name. If you don't select a class, when kids join in, they can enter their names, and their names can be entered however they want, appropriate or inappropriate. And so, know your kids. Starting cash, if you want them to start with some money, you can do that. You can give them a handicap that like they can't go in debt below a certain amount. Can they view the correct answer? Do you want the music on during the game? I mean, it's cheesy music, but like, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to not have it. Clapping, I do not understand. I will not understand, but it's literally a button you click at the end of the game that goes, like makes a clap sound. And so at the end of the game, the kids just see how many claps they can get. And then you have all these kids like rapid fire clicking a button, and you just hear, and it doesn't even really sound much like clapping, and it never sounds like a round of applause, but they just really, click, 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 click. I don't understand kids, but, okay, boomer. So joining in late is if you want to let kids join in late after the game starts. I always allow that because occasionally someone's phone shuts off or their computer reboots or someone comes in late, and like if you're playing a long game, they just have to sit there and look cute the entire time. Like, nope. All right. At the bottom are the options for the shop. And this is a feature in the game where students can purchase power-ups. And what power-ups are ways to improve how much money you earn or to attack the other team or teams. So one power-up is a multiplier. So every answer you get correct, it'll multiply times 1.5 or times 2 or times whatever. There's the amount of money per question and how much each question is worth. It starts out, each question is worth $10. I think after using all of the multipliers, I think the most a question can ever be worth is something like $12 million a question. There is an insurance policy you can buy. So if a question's worth $100 and you get it right, you earn 100. If you get it wrong, you lose 100. It's like Jeopardy, right? You get the minuses. So you can buy insurance so that if it's worth 100 and you'd earn 100 for getting it right, and if you get it wrong, you might only lose 80. Right? And then there's a streak bonus for getting like subsequent ones in a row correct. Themes, I don't know, kids don't really seem into the themes, but you can like make it look pretty. And then clean power-ups only. It only allows power-ups that don't hurt other players. So if you want to be more cooperative, I personally would like them to play a little more cutthroat. So one of the power-ups you can buy that hurts the other team is you can freeze them for like 20 seconds and they can't do anything. There's another one that like subtracts some of their money, and I can't remember offhand what the other attacky ones are, but those are things that kids can access during gameplay. After every question they answer, it'll say like, do you want to go on to questions or do you want to go to the store? And so they can always go to the store and like buy those different things. So I'm going to go back and show you now how it actually works to create them. I'm back here at my homepage, and the first thing I'm going to do, and probably the easiest thing to do, is if you want to play a game about something, you can just search for kits other people have made. So if I search for alphabet, right, you'll see over on the side here, there are all sorts of alphabet ones. And I was really confused for a minute as to why an alphabet set would have 33 questions, but you can see the questions over here, and it actually happens to be the Cyrillic alphabet, so you can test yourself or your kids and play a game about te and se and zhe and a and n and all the other Russian letters. Not really sure what this is. I think this is something that has been done with Kit Collaborate, because you can actually have students suggest questions. But if I like this one right here, 26 questions, words with the alphabet, I click on it and I can just play it. I can also copy it and make a copy for myself. I don't like that, so none of this pleased me. So I want to make a new kit. And so I'm going to call this kit test. In the language, I'm going to do it in English this time. Oh no, where is English? Maybe I'll do it in Spanish because that one I could find, right? Subject, world languages, you could pick a different subject if you wanted. Next, choose a cover photo. I called it test, so it's pulling up images that might look like a test. Great, there we go. And it's now giving me the option to add a question, create with flashcards, continue with Kit Collab, add from question bank, or import from a spreadsheet. So if you set up your questions on a spreadsheet, you can import them right into Gimkit. The question bank obviously is like there's a bank of questions somewhere. I do not know. I just generally assume no one ever would have the same questions that I'd want to ask. So I've never used that. Kit Collab allows students to actually submit questions. So if you want to do some sort of a cooperative learning exercise, you can have them submitting questions to Kit Collab, to the kit that you're going to then play as a whole class. And I usually create with flashcards. You can just simply one by one add questions, but I'm also trying to work less hard. And creating with flashcards for me seems like less work. So You can create flashcards, which again makes a set of, you know, question and answer cards, or if I were doing this, it would be a word in Spanish, a word in English, right? But I like to import flashcards. You see it says find a flashcard set and paste the text below. Where do I find a flashcard set? I find flashcard sets on Quizlet. Shh, don't say the Q word. Okay, Quizlet lets you export sets that you have on Quizlet, but for some reason they don't let Gimkit announce that you specifically can do this from Quizlet. So I've pulled up one of my sets on Quizlet, and I tend to do this with all the vocab like ever, and then just send kids here optionally to practice. So here's my Quizlet set. And down at the bottom here, underneath, like in kind of this menu area, there's this little 3 dots that's like, here's more, right? And you'll see the export button. And okay, as you can tell, my Quizlet is set in Spanish, but exportar, if you don't speak Spanish, it means to export. So you click that, and I just never change any of this. I don't alphabetize it. I don't care. You can if you want. But what you need to do is copy the text, right? And it says copied. And then go back over to Gimkit and just Control V or paste as is and click create. Here is a list of questions basically, and it has automatically picked the definitions of words from this list and made the multiple choice questions. Now, you may need to go through and read these because I'm pretty sure I've got good and well in this vocabulary list. And so if I'm asking the kids this, and one of the choices says well and fine, and the next one says good, I feel like that's a subtle enough difference that kids don't understand in English the difference between good and well. And so I might want to not have that be one of the distractor answers for this particular game. If then I want to add some questions, I can always add questions. You can click the little pencil to edit the question. You can continue with Kit Collab if you want kids to be able to add to that. And then finish Kit. Boom, there it is. It's all ready to play or to assign as homework. And if you add your classes into this, you can assign homework. Right? You can choose which kit you want them to practice. You can select which class from your list of classes that you've input you want them to do. When should it be complete? And how much money do you want them to have to earn? I don't really know how to select perfectly the amount of money. If kids are really good at the gameplay and use those power-ups to double the amount of money per question and things like that, $100,000 isn't a ridiculous amount because it starts growing exponentially. It does, however, at the very beginning of a game, seem like, oh my God, $100,000 is a lot, right? The advanced options do kind of help with that. You can set a max time. It means if a kid is working on it and does not hit that money goal, but they've spent, in this case, the default says 60 minutes on that assignment, then that's fine. Like I would set maybe a 20-minute max limit. And if kids are working on it for 20 minutes and just haven't like been good enough at the gameplay aspect, I'm not going to fault them for that. They've spent enough time playing with the vocabulary. You can start them with some cash. The benefit of starting them with some cash is they can immediately buy some power-ups to move a little quicker. And, if you want to give it a title, you can do that. I'm going to go back and just show the classes thing, which is over here. You can see assignments is on the left and classes. So classes are here. You can add a new class. You can edit the old classes. You can delete class. Here's a list of kids, and I probably shouldn't have put their actual names up there, but you do enter kids by their names. So when you add a new class, you pick the color, you give it a name, and then you actually add students to the class unless they've changed that since last year. Oh yeah, they did. You can actually have kids connect with their Google addresses now, so you don't have to hand enter all of the kids in the class. That's so good. And so they just follow this link, joining it just like you would Google Classroom. You can set it up to auto accept students. So if this link is used, it will auto populate those kids into class and you don't have to approve them. That is something new this year, and I am not mad about it. So I'm going to go back. This seasons thing is basically a way to bring in interclass competition. So game by game, there's like the leaderboard, and you can see who wins like in your classmate, but this like allows for a whole season. So you might have won today's game, but what about next week, right? And you can also have them compete against other classes. So once you start the season, you can kind of bring that extra element of competition into it. Again, I know Kahoot is free. I know Quizlet is free to use. Gimkit does cost money, but I think that it is well worth it. Kids enjoy playing this. I think more than they enjoy some of the other ones just because there's so much more variety brought into it. Gimkit was invented by a kid who was a junior in high school at the time. He's on his first postgraduate year now and is running this company full time. It took sort of a gap year before deciding if he was going to be a full-time college student or a part-time college student or just work with Gimkit. So the head of this company really gets kids, and they've got a new writing thing that's coming out soon. It's not ready yet, but I figure if this kid thinks it would be a way to get people writing, that might be a benefit also. The kid who runs the company, I mean, I guess he's an adult now, but he was a junior in high school when he started this, so I keep thinking of him as a kid. Is super active on Twitter, and their customer service is really responsive. So if you are in a position to be able to subscribe, I really encourage you to do that.